Book of Daniel. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nabuchodonosor, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord delivered Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, into his hand, with certain ornaments of the house of God, which he carried away into the land of Sennaar, to the house of his God, and there brought them into his God's treasury. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the chief chamberlain, that he should bring him 10 of the children of Israel that were come of the king's seed and of princes, young springalds without any blemish, but fair and well-favoured, instructed in all wisdom, cunning and understanding, which were able to stand in the king's palace, to read and to learn for to speak Chaldeish. Unto these the king appointed a certain portion of his own meat, and of the wine which he drank himself, so to nourish them 3 years, that afterward they might stand before the king. Among these now were certain of the children of Judah, namely Daniel, Ananias, Misael, and Azarias. Unto these the chief chamberlain gave other names, and called Daniel Balthazar, Ananias, Sidrach, Misael, Misach, and Azarias, Abednego. But Daniel was at a point with himself that he would not be defiled through the king's meat, nor the wine which he drunk. And this he desired of the chief chamberlain, lest he should defile himself. So God gave Daniel favour and grace before the chief chamberlain, that he said unto him, I am afraid of my lord the king, which hath appointed you your meat and drink, lest he spy your faces to be worse liking than the other springalds of your age, and so ye shall make me lose my head unto the king. Then Daniel answered Manasseh, whom the chief chamberlain had set over Daniel, Ananias, Misael, and Azarias, and said, O prove but 10 days with thy servants, and let us have pottage to eat and water to drink. Then look upon our faces and theirs that eat of the king's meat, and as thou seest, so deal with thy servants. So he consented to them in this matter, and proved them 10 days. And after the 10 days their faces were better liking and fatter than all the young springalds, loose, which ate of the king's meat. Thus Manasseh took away their meat and wine, and gave them pottage therefore. God gave now these 4 springalds cunning and learning in all scripture and wisdom, but unto Daniel specially he gave understanding of all visions and dreams. Now when the time was expired, that the king had appointed to bring in these young springalds unto him, the chief chamberlain brought them before Nabuchodonosor, and the king communed with them. But among them all were found none such as Daniel, Ananias, Misael, and Azarias. Therefore stood they before the king, which in all wisdom and matters of understanding, that he inquired of them, found them 10 times better than all the soothsayers and charmers that were in all his realm. And Daniel abode still unto the 1st year of King Cyrus. In the 2nd year of the reign of Nabuchodonosor had Nabuchodonosor a dream, where thorough his spirit was vexed, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call together all the soothsayers, charmers, witches, and Chaldees, for to show the king his dream. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, Have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was so troubled therewith that have clean forgotten what dreamed. Upon this the Chaldees answered the king in the Syrian speech, O king, God save thy life forever. Show thy servants the dream, and we shall show thee what it meaneth. The king gave the Chaldees their answer, and said, It is gone from me. If ye will not make me understand the dream with the interpretation thereof, ye shall die, and your houses shall be prized. But if ye tell me the dream and the meaning thereof, ye shall have of me gifts, rewards, and great honour. Only show me the dream and the signification of it. They answered again and said, The king must show his servants the dream, and so shall we declare what it meaneth. Then the king answered, saying, Perceive of a truth that ye do but prolong the time, for so much as ye see that the thing is gone from me. Therefore, if ye will not tell me the dream, ye shall all have one judgment. But ye feign and dissemble with vain words which ye speak before me to put off the time. Therefore tell me the dream, and so shall know if ye can show me what it meaneth. Upon this the Chaldees gave the other answer before the king, and said, There is no man upon earth that can tell the thing which the king speaketh of. Yea, there is neither king, prince, nor lord that ever asked such things at a soothsayer, charmer, or Chaldea. For it is a very hard matter that the king requireth. Neither is there any that can certify the king thereof, except the gods, whose dwelling is not among the creatures. For the which cause the king was wroth with great indignation, and commanded to destroy all the wise men at Babylon. And the proclamation went forth, that the wise men should be slain. They sought also to slay Daniel with his companions. Then Daniel inquired Arioch the king's steward of the judgment and sentence that was gone forth already to kill such as were wise at Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, being then the king's deputy, Why hath the king proclaimed so cruel a sentence? So Arioch told Daniel the matter. Upon this went Daniel up and desired the king that he might have leisure to show the king the interpretation. And then came he home again and showed the thing unto Ananias, Misael, and Azarias his companions, that they should beseech the God of heaven for grace in this secret, that Daniel and his fellows with others such as were wise in Babylon perished not. Then was the mystery showed unto Daniel in a vision by night, and Daniel praised the God of heaven. Daniel also cried aloud and said, Oh, that the name of God might be praised for ever and ever, for wisdom and strength are his own. He changeth the times and ages. He putteth down kings, he setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and understanding to those that understand. He openeth the deep secrets. He knoweth the thing that lieth in darkness, for the light dwelleth with him. Thank thee and pray thee, O thou God of my fathers, that thou hast lent me wisdom and strength, and hast showed me the thing that we desired of thee, for thou hast opened the king's matter unto me. Upon this went Daniel in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise at Babylon. He went unto him and said, Destroy not such as are wise in Babylon, but bring me in unto the king, and shall show the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought Daniel into the king in all the haste, and said unto him, Have found a man among the Prisvi other, Debete, owners of Judah, that shall show the king the interpretation. Then answered the king, and said unto Daniel, whose name was Balthazar, Art thou he that canst show me the dream which have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered the king to his face, and said, As for this secret for the which the king maketh inquisition, it is neither the wise, the sorcerer, the charmer, nor the devil conjurer that can certify the king of it. Only God in heaven can open secrets, and he it is that showeth the king Nebuchadnezzar what is for to come in the latter days. Thy dream, and that which thou hast seen in thine head upon thy bed, is this. O king, thou didst cast in thy mind what should come hereafter. So he that is the opener of mysteries telleth thee what is for to come. As for me, this secret is not showed me for any wisdom that have more than any other living, but only that might show the king the interpretation, that he might know the thoughts of his own heart. Thou king sawest, and behold, there stood before thee a great image, whose figure was marvellous great, and his visage grim. The image head was of fine gold, his breast and arms of silver, his body and loins were of copper, his legs were of iron, his feet were part of iron and part of earth. This thou sawest, till the time that, without any hands, there was hewn of a stone which smote the image upon the feet, that were both of iron and earth, and brake them to powder. Then was the iron, the earth, the copper, the silver, and gold broken altogether in pieces, and became like the chaff of corn, that the wind bloweth away from the summer floors, that they can no more be found. But the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, which fulfilleth the whole earth. This is the dream. And now will we show before the king what it meaneth. O king, thou art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, riches, strength, and majesty, and hath delivered thee all things that are among the children of men, the beasts of the field, and the fowls under the heaven, and given thee dominion over them all. Thou art that golden head. After thee there shall arise another kingdom, which shall be less than thine. The third kingdom shall be like copper, and have domination in all lands. The fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for like as iron bruiseth the other, polder, and breaketh all things. Yea, even as iron beateth everything down, so shall it beat down and destroy. Whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of earth and part of iron, that is a divided kingdom, which nevertheless shall have some of the iron ground mixed with it, for so much as thou hast seen the iron mixed with the clay. The toes of the feet that were part of iron and part of clay signifieth that it shall be a kingdom partly strong and partly weak. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of simple people, and yet not continue one with another, like as iron will not be soldered with a potsherd. In the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up an everlasting kingdom which shall not perish, and his kingdom shall not be given over to another people. Yea, the same shall break and destroy all these kingdoms, but it shall endure forever. And whereas thou sawest that without any hands there was cut out of the mount a stone which brake the iron, the copper, the earth, the silver, and gold in pieces, by that hath the great God showed the king what will come after this. This is a true dream, and the interpretation of it is sure. Then the king Nabuchodonosor fell down upon his face, and bowed himself unto Daniel, and commanded that they should offer meat offerings and sweet odours unto him. The king answered Daniel and said, Yea, of a truth your God is a God above all gods, and Lord above all kings, and an opener of secrets, seeing thou canst discover this mystery. So the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many and great gifts. He made him ruler of all the countries of Babylon, and lord of all the nobles that were at Babylon. Now Daniel entreated the king for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, so that he made them rulers over all the offices in the land of Babylon. But Daniel himself remained still in the court by the king. Nabuchodonosor the king caused a golden image to be made, which was 60 cubits high and 6 cubits thick. This he made to be set up in the field of Dura, in the land of Babylon, and sent out to gather together the dukes, lords, and noblesse, the judges and officers, the deputies and shrives, with all the rulers of the land, that they might come to the dedication of the image which Nabuchodonosor the king had set up. So the dukes, lords, and nobles, the judges and officers, vifi other, debites, deputies and shrives, with all the rulers of the land, gathered them together, and came unto the dedicating of the image that Nabuchodonosor the king had set up. Now when they stood before the image which Nabuchodonosor had set up, the beadle cried out with all his might, O ye people, kindreds and tongues, to you be it said, that when ye hear the noise of the trumpets which shall be blown with harps, shawmies, psalter, eyes, symphonies, and all manner of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nabuchodonosor the king hath set up. Whoso then falleth not down and boweth himself, shall even the same hour be cast into an hot burning oven. Therefore when all the folk heard the noise of the trumpets that were blown with the harps, shawmies, psalteries, symphonies, and all kind of melody, then all the people, kindreds, and nations fell down and bowed themselves unto the golden image that Nabuchodonosor the king had set up. Now were there certain men of the Chaldees that went even then and accused the Jews, and said unto the king Nabuchodonosor, O king, God save thy life forever. Thou being king hast given a commandment that all men, when they hear noise of the trumpets, harps, shawmies, psalteries, symphonies, and all the other melodies, shall fall down and bow themselves toward the golden image. Whoso then fell not down and worshipped not, that he should be cast into an hot burning oven. Now are there certain Jews whom thou hast set over the offices of the land of Babylon, namely Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, regard not thy commandment. Yea, they will not serve thy gods, nor bow themselves to the golden image that thou hast set up. Then Nabuchodonosor, in a cruel wrath and displeasure, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego should be brought unto him. So these men were brought before the king. Then Nabuchodonosor spake unto them, and said, What? O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, will not ye serve my gods, nor bow yourselves to the golden image that have set up? Well, be ready hereafter, when ye hear the noise of the trumpets blow with the harps, shawmies, psalteries, symphonies, and all the other melodies, that ye fall down and worship the image which have made. But if ye worship it not, ye shall be cast immediately into an hot burn. This other, debits, ing oven, let's see what God is there that may deliver you out of my hands. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, and said, O Nabuchodonosor, we ought not to consent unto thee in this matter, for why? Our God whom we serve is able to keep us from the hot burning oven, O king, and can right well deliver us out of thy hands. And though he will not, yet shalt thou know, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor do reverence to the image which thou hast set up. Then was Nabuchodonosor full of indignation, so that the countenance of his face changed upon Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he charged and commanded that the oven should be made 7 times hotter than it was wont to be, and spake unto the strongest worthies that were in his house, for to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the hot burning oven. So these men were bound in their coats, hose, and shoes with their other garments, and cast into the hot burning oven. For the king's commandment was so strait, and the oven was exceeding hot. As for the men that put in Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the flame of the fire destroyed them. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down in the hot burning oven, being fast bound. Then Nabuchodonosor the king marveled, and stood up in all haste. He spake unto his council, and said, Did not ye cast these 3 men bound into the fire? They answered and said unto the king, Yea, O king. He answered and said, Lo, for all that, yet do see 4 men going loose in the midst of the fire, and nothing corrupt. and the fourth is like an angel to look upon. Upon this went Nabuchodonosor unto the mouth of the hot-burning oven. He spake also and said, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the high God, go forth and come hither. And so Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego went out of the fire. Then the dukes, lords, and nobles, and the king's council came together to see these men, upon whom the fire had no manner of power in their bodies, insomuch that the very hair of their head was not burnt, and their clothes unchanged. Yea, there was no smell of fire felt upon them. Then spake Nabuchodonosor and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which hath sent his angel and defended his servants that put their trust in him, that have altered the king's commandment, and other louse, other the Son of God, other high, jeopardy their bodies thereupon. Rather then they would serve or worship any other god except their own God only. Therefore will and command that all people, kindreds and tongues, which speak any blasphemy against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall die, and their houses shall be prized, because there is no God that may save as this. So the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the land of Babylon, Nabuchodonosor king, unto all people, kindreds and tongues that dwell upon the whole earth, peace be multiplied among you, thought it good to show the tokens and marvelous works that the high God hath wrought upon me. O how great are his tokens, and how mighty are his wonders! His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his power lasteth for ever and ever. Nabuchodonosor, being at rest in mine house and flourishing in my palace, saw a dream which made me afraid, and the thoughts that had upon my bed with the visions of mine head troubled me. Then sent out a commission that all they which were of wisdom at Babylon should be brought before me, to tell me the interpretation of the dream. So there came the soothsayers, charmers, Chaldees, and conjurers of devils, to whom told the dream, but what it betokened they could not show me. Till at the last there came one Daniel, otherwise called Balthazar, according to the name of my God, which hath the spirit of the holy gods in him, to whom told the dream, saying, O Balthazar, thou prince of soothsayers, for so much as know that thou hast the spirit of the holy gods, and no secret is hid from thee. Tell me therefore what the vision of my dream that have seen may signify. Saw a vision in my head upon my bed, and behold, there stood a tree upon the ground, which was very high, great and mighty. The height reached unto the heaven, and the breadth extended to all the ends of the earth. His leaves were fair, he had very much fruit, so that every man had enough to eat therein. The beasts of the field had shadows under it, and the fowls of the air dwelt in the boughs thereof. Shortly all creatures fed of it. Saw in my head a vision upon my bed, and behold, a watcher came down from heaven, and cried mightily, saying, Vive other, soothsayers, other, gods, other, height, other translation, even an holy angel. Hew down the tree, break off his branches, shake off his leaves, and scatter his fruit abroad, that all the beasts may get them away from under him, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless leave the ground of his roots still in the earth, and bind him upon the plain field with chains of iron and steel. With the dew of heaven shall he be wet, and he shall have his part in the herbs of the ground with other wild beasts. That man's heart of his shall be taken from him, and a beast's heart shall be given him, till 7 years be come and gone upon him. This errand of the watcher is a commandment grounded and sought out in the counsel of him, that is most holy, to learn men for to understand, that the highest hath power over the kingdoms of men, and giveth them to whom it liketh him, and bringeth the very outcasts of men over them. This is the dream that King Nabuchodonosor have seen. Therefore, O Balthazar, tell thou me what it signifieth, for so much as all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to show me what it meaneth. But thou canst do it, for the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. Then Daniel, whose name was Balthazar, held his peace by the space of an hour, and his thoughts troubled him. So the king spake and said, O Balthazar, let neither the dream nor the interpretation thereof fear thee. Balthazar answered, saying, O my lord, this dream happened to thine enemies, and the interpretation to thine adversaries. As for the tree that thou sawest, which was so great and mighty, whose height reached unto the heaven, and his breadth into all the world, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit much, under the which the beasts of the field had their habitation, and upon whose branches the fowls of the air did sit. Even thou, O king, art the tree, great and strong. Thy greatness increaseth and reacheth unto the heaven, so doth thy power to the ends of the earth. But whereas the king saw a watcher, even an holy angel, that came down from heaven and said, Hew down the tree and destroy it, yet leave the ground of the root in the earth, and bind him upon the plain field with chains of iron and steel. He shall be wet with the dew of heaven, and his part shall be with the beasts of the field, till 7 years be come and gone upon him. This, O king, is the interpretation. Yea, it is the very device of him that is highest of all, and it toucheth Vaph. Other, highest, my lord the king, thou shalt be cast out from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. With grass shalt thou be fed like an ox. Thou must be wet with the dew of the heaven. Yea, 7 years shall come and go upon thee, till thou know that the highest hath power upon the kingdoms of men, and giveth them to whom he list. Moreover, whereas it was said that the root of the tree should be left still in the ground, it betokeneth that thy kingdom shall remain whole unto thee, after thou hast learned to know that the power cometh from heaven. Wherefore, O king, be content with my counsel, that thou mayest lose these sins with righteousness, and thine offences with mercy to poor people. For such things shall prolong thy peace. All these things touched the king Nabuchodonosor. So after 12 months the king walked up and down in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon, and said, This is the great city of Babylon, which myself with my power and strength have made a king's court, for the honour of my majesty. While these words were yet in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven, saying, O king Nabuchodonosor, to thee be it spoken. Thy kingdom is departed from thee, thou shalt be cast out of men's company. Thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, so that thou shalt eat grass like as an ox, till 7 years be come and gone over thee, even until thou knowest that the highest hath power upon the kingdoms of men, and that he may give them unto whom it pleaseth him. The very same hour was this matter fulfilled upon Nabuchodonosor, so that he was cast out of men's company, and ate grass like an ox. His body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were as great as eagle's feathers, and his nails like birds' claws. When this time was past, Nabuchodonosor lift up mine eyes unto heaven, and mine understanding was restored unto me again. Then gave thanks to the highest, magnified and praised him that liveth for evermore, whose power endureth alway, and his kingdom from one generation to another, in comparison of whom all they that dwell upon the earth are to be reputed as nothing. He handleth according to his will among the powers of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth, and there is none that may resist his hand or say, What dost thou? At the same time was mine understanding given me again, and other, Laus, other, highest, was restored to the honour of my kingdom, to my dignity, and to my own shape again. My great estates and princes sought unto me, and was set in my kingdom again, so that had yet greater worship. Then did Nabuchodonosor love, magnify, and praise the King of heaven, for all his works are true and his ways right. As for those that go on proudly, he is able to bring them down. King Balthazar made a great banquet to his 1,000 lords. With all these 1,000 he made great cheer. And when he was drunken with wine, he commanded to bring him the golden and silver vessels, which his father Nabuchodonosor had taken out of the temple at Jerusalem, that the king and his lords with his queen and concubines might drink thereout. So they brought the golden vessel that was taken out of the temple of the Lord's house at Jerusalem. Then the king and his lords with his queen and concubines drank out of them. They drank wine, and praised their idols of gold, silver, copper, iron, wood, and stone. In the very same hour there appeared fingers, as it had been of a man's hand writing, right over against the candlestick upon the plain wall in the king's palace. And the king saw the palm of the hand that wrote. Then changed the king his countenance, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his body shook, and his knees smote one against another. Wherefore the king cried mightily, that they should bring him the charmers, Chaldees, and the conjurers of devils. The king spake also to the wise men of Babylon, and said, Whoso can read this writing, and show me the plain meaning thereof, shall be clothed with purple, have a chain of gold about his neck, and rule the 3rd part of my kingdom. Upon this came all the king's wise men, but they could neither read the writing, nor show the king what it signified. Then was the king sore afraid, insomuch that his colour changed, and his lords were sore vexed. So by reason of this matter that had happened to the king and his lords, the queen went up herself into the banquet house, and spake unto the king, saying, O king, God save thy life for ever. Let not the thoughts trouble thee, and let not thy countenance be changed. For why? There is a man in thy kingdom that hath the spirit of the holy gods within him, as it was seen in thy father's days. He hath other, understanding and wisdom like the gods. Yea, the king Nabuchodonosor, thy father, made this man chief of the soothsayers, charmers, Chaldees, and devil conjurers, because that such an abundant spirit, knowledge and wisdom to expound dreams, open secrets, and to declare hard doubts was found in him. Yea, even in Daniel, whom the king named Balthazar. Let this same Daniel be sent for, and he shall tell what it meaneth. Then was Daniel brought before the king. So the king spake unto Daniel, and said, Art thou that Daniel, one of the prisoners of Judah, whom my father the king brought out of Jewry? Have heard speak of thee, that thou hast the spirit of the holy gods, experience and understanding, and that there hath been great wisdom found in thee. Now have there been brought me wise and conjuring charmers to read this writing, and to show me the meaning thereof. But they could not tell me what this matter signified. Then heard say that thou can expound dark things and declare hard doubts. Well then, if thou can read this writing and show me the meaning thereof, thou shalt be clothed with purple, have a chain of gold about thy neck, and rule the third part of my kingdom. Daniel answered and said before the king, As for thy rewards, keep them to thyself, or give thy rich gifts to another. Yet not the less will read the writing unto the king, and show him the interpretation thereof. O king, God the highest gave unto Nabuchodonosor thy father the dignity of a king with worship and honor, so that all people, kindreds, and tongues stood in awe and fear of him by reason of the high estate that he had sent him. For why, he slew whom he would, he smote whom it pleased him. Again, whom he would he set up, and whom he list he put down. But because his heart was so proud, and his stomach set so fast unto wilfulness, he was deposed from his kingly throne, and his majesty was taken from him. He was shot out from among men, his heart was like a beast's heart, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. He was fain to eat grass like an ox, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the highest had power upon the kingdoms of men, and setteth over them whom he list. And thou his son, O Balthazar, for all this, hast not submitted thine heart, though thou knewest all these things, but hast magnified other highest v other highest, fied thyself above the Lord of heaven, so that the vessels of his house were brought before thee, that thou and thy lords with thy queen and concubines might drink wine thereout, and hast praised the idols of silver and gold, copper and iron, of wood and stone. As for the God in whose hand consisteth thy breath and all thy ways, thou hast not loved him. Therefore is the palm of this hand sent hither from him to token up this writing. And this is the scripture that is written up, Main Thetel Phares. Now the interpretation of the thing is this, Main, God hath numbered the kingdom and brought it to an end. Thetel, thou art weighed in the balance and art found to light. Phares, thy kingdom is dealt in parts and given to the Medes and Perses. Then commanded Balthazar to clothe Daniel with purple, to hang a chain of gold about his neck, and to make a proclamation concerning him, that he should be the ruler of the third part of his kingdom. The very same night was Balthazar the king of the Chaldees slain, and Darius out of Media took in the kingdom, being 62 years of age. It pleased Darius to set over his kingdom 120 lords, which should be in all his kingdom about. Above these he set 3 princes, of whom Daniel was one, that the lords might give accompt unto them, and the king to be undiseased. But Daniel exceeded all these princes and lords, for the Spirit of God was plenteous in him, so that the king was minded to set him over the whole realm. Wherefore the princes and lords sought to pick out in Daniel some quarrel against the kingdom, yet could they find none occasion nor fault upon him. For why, he was so faithful that there was no blame nor dishonesty found in him. Then said these men, We will get no quarrel against this Daniel, except it be in the law of his God. Upon this went the princes and lords together unto the king, and said thus unto him, King Darius, God save thy life forever. All the great estates of the realm, as the princes, dukes, senators, and judges, are determined to put out a commandment of the king, and to make a sure statute, namely, that whoso desireth any petition, either of any god or man within this 30 days, except it be only of thee, O king, the same person may be cast into the lion's den. Wherefore, O king, confirm thou this statute, and make a writing, that the other, thy, thing which the Medes and Perses have ordained be not altered nor broken. So Darius made the writing and confirmed it. Now when Daniel understood that the writing was made, he went into his house, and the windows of his hall toward Jerusalem stood open. There kneeled he down upon his knees 3 times a day. There he made his petition and praised his God, like as his manner was to do aforetime. Then these men made search and found Daniel making his petition and praying unto his God. So they came to the king and spake before him concerning his commandment, saying, O king, hast thou not subscribed the statute, that within 30 days whoso requireth his petition of any god or man, but only of thyself, O king, he shall be cast into the den of the lions? The king answered and said, It is true, it must be as a law of the Medes and Perses that may not be broken. Then answered they and said unto the king, Daniel, one of the prisoners of Judah, O king, regardeth neither thee nor thy statute that thou hast made, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. When the king heard these words, he was sore grieved, and would have excused Daniel to deliver him and put off the matter until the sun went down, to the intent that he might save him. These men, perceiving the king's mind, said unto him, Know this, O king, that the law of the Medes and Perses is, that the commandment and statute which the king maketh may not be altered. Then the king had then bring Daniel, and cast him into the lion's den. The king also spake unto Daniel, and said, Thy God whom thou always servest, even he shall defend thee. And there was brought a stone, and laid upon the hole of the den. This the king sealed with his own ring, and with the signet of his princes, that the king's commandment concerning Daniel should not be broken. So the king went into his palace, and kept him sober all night, so that there was no table spread before him, neither could he take any sleep. But by times in the morning at the break of the day the king arose, and went in all haste unto the den of the lions. Now as he came nigh unto the den, he cried with a piteous voice unto Daniel. Yea, the king spake, and said to Daniel, O Daniel, thou servant of the living God, is not thy God, whom thou always servest, able to deliver thee from the lions? Daniel said unto the king, O the other, ordained. King, God save thy life forever. My God hath sent his angel, which hath shut the lions' mouths, so that they might not hurt me. For why mine unguiltiness is found out before him. And as for thee, O king, never offended thee. Then was the king exceeding glad, and commanded to take Daniel out of the den. So Daniel was brought out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, for he put his trust in his God. And as for those men which had accused Daniel, the king commanded to bring them, and to cast them in the lions' den, them, their children, and their wives. So the lions had the mastery of them, and brake all their bones asunder, or ever they came at the ground. After this wrote King Darius unto all people, kindreds, and tongues that dwelt in all lands, Peace be multiplied with you. My commandment is in all my dominion and kingdom, that men fear and stand in awe of Daniel's God. For he is the living God which abideth ever. His kingdom shall not fail, and his power is everlasting. It is he that delivereth and saveth. He doth wonders and marvellous works in heaven and in earth. He hath preserved Daniel from the power of the lions. This Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and Cyrus of Persia. In the 1st year of Balthazar king of Babylon saw Daniel a dream, and a vision was in his head upon his bed, which dream he wrote, and the sum of the matter is this. Daniel spake and said, Saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, one unlike another. The first was as a lion, and yet had he eagle's wings. Saw that his wings were plucked from him, and he taken away from the earth, that he stood upon his feet as a man, and that there was given him a man's heart. Behold, the second beast was like a bear, and stood upon the one side. Among his teeth in his mouth he had 3 great long teeth, and it was said unto him, Arise, eat up much flesh. Then looked, and behold, there was another like unto a leopard. This had wings as a fowl, even 4 upon the back. This beast had 4 heads, and there was power given him. After this saw in a vision by night, and behold, the 4th beast was grim and horrible and marvellous strong. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and destroyed, and stamped the residue under feet. It was far like the other beasts that were before it, for it had 10 horns, whereof took good heed. And behold, there came up among them another like horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked away. Behold, this horn had eyes like a man, and a mouth speaking presumptuous things. Looked till the seats were prepared, until the old age sat him down. His clothing was white as snow, and the hairs of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as the burning fire. There drew forth a fiery stream, and went out from him. 1,000 times 1,000 served him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books opened. Then took heed thereunto, because of the voice of the proud words which the horn spake. Beheld till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given over to be brent in the fire. As for the power of the other beasts also, it was taken away, but their lives were prolonged for a time and season. Saw in a vision by night, and behold, there came one in the clouds of heaven like the Son of a Man, which went unto the old aged, before whom they brought him. Then gave he him power and dignity regal, that all people, tribes, and tongues should serve him. His power is an everlasting power, which shall never be put down, and his kingdom endureth uncorrupt. My heart was vexed, and Daniel had a troubled spirit within me, and the visions of my head made me afraid, till gat me to one of them that stood by to know the truth concerning all these things. So he told me, and made me understand the interpretation of these things. These 4 great beasts are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. These shall take in the kingdom of the saints of the Most Highest, and possess it still more and more for a long season. After this required diligently to know the truth concerning the 4th beast, which was so far unlike the other beasts and so horrible, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured and destroyed and stamped the residue under his feet. Desired also to know the truth as touching the 10 horns that he had upon his head, and this other which came up afterward, before whose face there fell down 3, which horn had eyes and a mouth that spake presumptuous things, and looked with a grimmer visage than his, other that. Fellows, beheld, and the same horn made battle against the saints, yea, and gat the victory of them till the time that the old aged came, that the judgment was given to the chiefest saints, until the time that the saints had the kingdom in possession. He gave me this answer: That 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth. It shall be more than all other kingdoms. It shall devour, tread down, and destroy all other lands. The 10 horns are 10 kings that shall arise out of that kingdom, after whom there shall stand up another, which shall be greater than the first. He shall subdue 3 kings, and shall speak words against the highest of all. He shall destroy the saints of the Most Highest, and think that he may change times and laws. They shall be given under his power until a time, 2 times and a half a time. But the judgment shall be kept, so that his power shall be taken from him, for he shall be destroyed and perish at the last. As for the kingdom, power, and all might that is under the heaven, it shall be given to the holy people of the Most Highest, whose kingdom is everlasting. Yea, all powers shall serve and obey him. Thus far extend the words. Nevertheless Daniel was so vexed in my thoughts that my countenance changed, but the words kept still in my heart. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Balthazar, there appeared a vision unto me, Daniel, after that had seen the first. Saw in a vision, and when saw it was at Susis in the chief city, which lieth in the land of Elam, and in the vision methought was by the river of Ulai. Then looked up and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had horns, and these horns were high, but one was higher than another, and the highest came up last. Saw that this ram pushed with his horns against the west, against the north, and against the south, so that no beast might stand before him nor defend them from his power. But he did as him listed, and waxed greatly. Took heed unto this, and then came there, and he goat from the west over the whole earth, and touched not the ground. This goat had a marvellous goodly horn betwixt his eyes, and came unto the ram, that had the 2 horns, whom had seen afore by the riverside, and ran fiercely upon him with his might. Saw him draw nigh unto the ram, being very other highest, other highest, other highest, fierce upon him. Yea, he gave him such a stroke that he brake his 2 horns. Neither had the ram so much strength as to stand before him, but he cast him down, trod him under his feet, and no man was able to deliver the ram out of his power. The goat waxed exceedingly great, and when he was at the strongest, his great horn was broken also. Then grew there other 4 such like in the stead, toward the 4 winds of the heaven. Yea, out of one of the least of these horns there came up yet another horn, which waxed marvellous great, toward the south, toward the east, and toward the fair, pleasant land. It grew up to the host of heaven, whereof it did cast some down to the ground, and of the stars also, and trod them under feet. Yea, it grew up unto the prince of the host, from whom the daily offering was taken, and the place of his sanctuary cast, 10 down. And a certain season was given unto it, against the daily offering, because of wickedness, that it might cast down the verity to the ground, and so to prosper in all things that it went about. Upon this heard one of the saints speaking, which saint said unto one that asked this question, How long shall this vision of the daily sacrifice and of the wasting abomination endure, that the sanctuary and the power shall so be trodden under foot? And he answered him, unto the evening and the morning, even 2,300 days. Then shall the sanctuary be cleansed again. Now when Daniel had seen this vision and sought for the understanding of it, behold, there stood before me a thing like unto a man, and heard a man's voice in the river of Ulai, which cried and said, O Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So he came and stood by me, but was afraid at his coming, and fell down upon my face. Then said he unto me, O thou son of man, mark well, for in the last time shall this vision be fulfilled. Now as he was speaking unto me, waxed faint, so that sunk down to the ground. But he took hold upon me, and set me up again, saying, Behold, will show thee what shall happen in the last wrath, for in the time appointed it shall be fulfilled. The ram which thou sawest with the 2 horns is the king of the Medes and Perses, but the goat is the king of Greek land. The great horn that stood betwixt his eyes, that is the principal king. But whereas it brake, and the other kest, 4 other rose up in the stead. It signifieth that out of this people shall stand up 4 kingdoms, but not so mighty as it. After these kingdoms, while ungodliness is a-growing, there shall arise a king of an unshamefast face, which shall be wise in dark speakings. He shall be mighty and strong, but not in his own strength. He shall destroy above measure, and all that he goeth about shall prosper. He shall slay the strong and holy people, and thorough his craftiness. Falsity shall prosper in his hand. His heart shall be proud, and many one shall be put to death in his wealthiness. He shall stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be destroyed without hand. And this vision that is showed unto thee is as sure as the evening and the morning. Therefore write thou upon this sight, for it will be long or it come to pass. Upon this was Daniel very faint, so that lay sick certain days. But when rose up, went about the king's business, and marvelled at the vision. Nevertheless no man knew of it. In the 1st year of Darius the son of Ahasuerus, which was of the seed of the Medes, and was made king over the realm of the Chaldees. Yea, even in the 1st year of his reign, Daniel desired to know the yearly number out of the books, whereof the Lord spake unto Jeremy the prophet, that Jerusalem should lie waste 70 years, and turned me unto God the Lord, for to pray and make mine intercession with fasting, sackcloth and ashes, prayed before the Lord my God, and knowledged, saying, O Lord, thou great and fearful God, thou that keepest covenant and mercy with them, which love thee and do thy commandments. We have sinned, we have offended, we have been disobedient and gone back. Yea, we have departed from all thy precepts and judgments. We would never follow thy servants the prophets, that spake in thy name to our kings and princes, to our forefathers, and to all the people of the land. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, unto us pertaineth nothing but open shame, as it is come to pass this day unto every man of Judah, and to them that dwell at Jerusalem, yea, unto all Israel, whether they be far or nigh, thorough out all lands, wherein thou hast strowed them, because of the offences that they had done against thee. Yea, O Lord, unto us, to our kings and princes, to our forefathers, even to thee other, he, us all that have offended thee, belongeth open shame. But unto thee, O Lord our God, pertaineth mercy and forgiveness. As for us, we are gone back from him, and have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God, to walk in his laws, which he laid before us by his servants the prophets. Yea, all Israel have transgressed, and gone back from thy law, so that they have not hearkened unto thy voice. Wherefore the curse and oath that is written in the law of Moses the servant of God, against whom we have offended, is poured upon us. And he hath performed his words which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, to bring upon us such a great plague as never was under heaven, like as it is now come to pass in Jerusalem. Yea, all this plague, as it is written in the law of Moses, is come upon us. Yet made we not our prayer before the Lord our God, that we might turn again from our wickedness, and to be learned in thy verite. Therefore hath the Lord made haste to bring this plague upon us. For the Lord our God is righteous in all his works which he doth. For why we would not hearken unto his voice? And now, O Lord our God, thou that with a mighty hand hast brought thy people out of Egypt, to get thyself a name which remaineth this day. We have sinned, O Lord, and done wickedly against all thy righteousness. Yet let thy wrathful displeasure be turned away, beseech thee, from thy city Jerusalem, thy holy hill. And why? For our sin's sake, and for the wickedness of our forefathers, is Jerusalem and thy people abhorred, of all them that are about us. Now therefore, O our God, hear the prayer of thy servant and his intercession. O let thy face shine over thy sanctuary that lieth waste. O my God, incline thine ear and hearken, at the least for thine own sake open thine eyes. Behold how we be desolated, yea, and the city also which is called after thy name. For we do not cast our prayers before thee in our own righteousnesses, no, but only in thy great mercies. O Lord, hear. O forgive, Lord, O Lord, consider, tarry not over long, but for thine own sake do it. O my God, for thy city and thy people is called after thy name. As was yet speaking at my prayers, acknowledging mine own sins and the sins of my people, making so mine intercession before the Lord my God for the holy hill's sake of my God. Yea, while was yet speaking in my prayer, vive, other, incline. Behold, the man Gabriel, whom had seen afore in the vision, came flying to me and touched me about the offering time in the evening. He informed me and spake unto me, O Daniel, said he, am now come to make thee understand it. For as soon as thou beganest to make thy prayer, it was so devised, and therefore am come to show thee. And why? For thou art a man greatly beloved. Wherefore ponder the matter well, that thou mayest learn to understand the vision. 70 weeks are determined over thy people and over the holy city, that the wickedness may be consumed, that the sin may have an end, that the offense may be reconciled, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, to fulfill the visions and the prophets, and to anoint the most holy one. Understand this then, and mark it well, that from the time it shall be concluded, to go and repair Jerusalem again unto Christ or the anointed prince, there shall be 7 weeks. Then shall the streets and walls be builded again 62 weeks, but with hard troublous time. After these 62 weeks shall Christ be slain, and they shall have no pleasure in him. Then shall there come a people with the prince, and destroy the city and the sanctuary, and his end shall come as the water flood. But the desolation shall continue till the end of the battle. He shall make a strong bond with many for the space of a week. And when the week is half gone, he shall put down the slain and meat offering. And in the temple there shall be an abominable desolation, till it have destroyed all. And it is concluded that this wasting shall continue unto the end. In the 3rd year of King Cyrus of Persia, there was showed unto Daniel, otherwise called Balthazar, a matter, yea, a true matter, but it is yet a long time unto it. He understood the matter well, and perceived what the vision was. At the same time Daniel mourned for the space of 3 weeks, so that had no lust to eat bread. As for flesh and wine, there came none within my mouth. No, did not once anoint myself, till the whole 3 weeks were out. Upon the 24th day of the 1st month was by the great flood called Tigris. Lift up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded up with fine gold of Araby. His body was like the chrysolite stone, his face to look upon was like vivi other lining. Lightning, his eyes as the flame of fire, his arms and feet were like fair glistering metal. But the voice of his words was like the voice of a multitude. Daniel alone saw this vision. The men that were with me saw it not. But a great fearfulness fell upon them, so that they fled away and hid themselves. Was left there myself alone, and saw this great vision, so long till there remained no more strength within me. Yea, lost my colour clean, wasted away, and my strength was gone. Yet heard the voice of his words, and as soon as heard it, faintness came upon me, and fell down flat to the ground upon my face. And behold, an hand touched me, which set me up upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands, saying unto me, O Daniel, thou well-beloved man, take good heed of the words that shall say unto thee, and stand right up, for unto thee am now sent. And when he had said these words, stood up trembling. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for why, since the first day that thou set thine heart to understand, and didst chasten thyself before thy God, thy words have been heard, and had come unto thee, when thou beganest to speak, had not the prince over the kingdom of the Persies withstand me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. Him have left by the king of Persia, and am come to show thee what shall happen unto thy people in the latter days, for it will be long yet, or the Vision be fulfilled. Now when he had spoken these words unto me, cast down my head to the ground, and held my tongue. Behold, there touched my lips one very like unto a man. Then opened my mouth, and said unto him that stood before me, O my Lord, my joints are loused in the vision, and there is no more strength within me. How may my Lord's servant then talk with my Lord? Seeing there is no strength in me, so that cannot take my breath. Upon this there touched me again one much like a man, and comforted me, saying, O thou man so well beloved, fear not. Be content, take a good heart unto thee, and be strong. So when he had spoken unto me, recovered, and said, Speak on, my Lord, for thou hast refreshed me. Then said he, Knowest thou wherefore am come unto thee? Now will go again to fight with the prince of the Persies. As soon as go forth, lo, the prince of Grekland shall come, nev vi other stowed, vi other kest. Eartheless will show thee the thing that is fast noted in the scripture of truth. And as for all yonder matters, there is none that helpeth me in them, but Michael your prince. And in the 1st year of Darius of Media stood by him to comfort him and to strengthen him, and now will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, but the 4th shall be far richer than they all. And when he is in the chiefest power of his riches, he shall provoke every man against the realm of Greekland. Then shall there arise yet a mighty king, that shall rule with great dominion, and do what him list. And as soon as his kingdom cometh up, it shall be destroyed and divided toward the 4 winds of the heaven. They that come after him shall not have such power and dominion as he, but his kingdom shall be scattered, yea, even among other than those. And the king of the south shall be mightier than his other princes. Against him there shall one make himself strong, and shall rule his dominion with great power. But after certain years they shall be joined together, and the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north, for to make friendship. But she shall not obtain the power of that arm, neither shall she be able to endure thorough his might. But she and such as brought her, yea, and he that begat her, and comforted her for his time, shall be delivered up. Out of the branches of her root there shall stand one up in his stead, which with power of armies shall go thorough the king's land of the north, and handle him according to his strength. As for their idols and princes with their costly jewels of gold and silver, he shall carry them away captives into Egypt, and he shall prevail against the king of the north certain years. And when he is come into the king's realm of the south, he shall be fain to turn again into his own land. Wherefore his sons shall be displeased, and shall gather together a mighty great host of people. And one of them shall come and go thorough like a water flood. Then shall he return, and go forth with defying and boasting unto his own land. Then the king of the south shall be angry, and shall come forth to fight against the king of the north. Yea, he shall bring a great multitude of people together, and a great heap shall be given into his hand. These shall he carry away with great pride, for so much as he hath. Vive. Other. Flowed. Vive. Other. Boosting. Cast down so many thousands, nevertheless he shall not prevail. For the king of the north shall gather of the new a greater heap of people than afore, and come forth after a certain time and years, with a mighty host and exceeding great good. At the same time there shall many stand up against the king of the south, so that the wicked children of thy people also shall exalt themselves to fulfill the vision, and then fall. So the king of the north shall come to lay siege, and to take the strong fenced cities. And the power of them of the south shall not be able to abide him, and the best men of the people shall not be so strong as to resist him. Shortly when he cometh he shall handle him as he list, and no man shall be so hardy as to stand against him. He shall stand in the pleasant country which thorough him shall be destroyed. He shall set his face with all his power to obtain his kingdom, and to be like it. Yea, that shall he do, and give him unto the daughters among women to destroy him. But he shall fail, neither shall he obtain his purpose. After this shall he set his face unto the isles, and take many of them. A prince shall stop him to do him a shame, beside the confusion that else shall come unto him. Thus shall he turn again to his own land, stumble and fall, and be no more found, so that he that came upon him and did him violence shall stand in his place, and have a pleasant kingdom. And after few days he shall be destroyed, and that neither in wrath nor in battle. In his stead there shall arise a vile person, not holden worthy of a king's dignity. This shall come in craftily, and obtain the kingdom with fair words. He shall fight against the armies of the mighty, and destroy them, yea, and against the prince of the covenant. So after that he hath take truce with him. He shall handle deceit fully, that he may get up and overcome him with a small flock. And so with craftiness to get him to the fattest place of the land, and to deal otherwise, than either his fathers or grandfathers did. For he shall destroy the thing that they had robbed and spoiled, yea, and all their substance, imagining thoughts against the strongholds, and that for a time. His power and heat shall be stirred up with a great army against the king of the south. Where thorough the king of the south shall be moved then unto battle with a great mighty host also. Nevertheless other stowed, other stop. He shall not be able to stand, for they shall conspire against him. Yea, they that eat of his meat shall hurt him, so that his host shall fall, and many be slain down. These 2 kings shall be minded to do mischief, and talk of deceit at one to blee. But they shall not prosper, for why the end shall not come yet unto the time appointed. Then shall he go home again into his own land with great good, and set his heart against the holy covenant. He shall be busy against it, and then return home. At the time appointed he shall come again and go toward the south. So shall it happen otherwise than at the first, yet once again. And why? The ships of Citham shall come upon him, that he may be smitten and turn again, that he may take indignation against the covenant of holiness to meddle against it. Yea, he shall turn him and draw such unto him as leave the holy covenant. He shall set mighty men to unhallow the sanctuary of strength, and to put down the daily offering, and to set up the abominable desolation. And such as break the covenant shall he flatter with fair words. But the people that will know their God shall have the overhand and prosper. Those also that have understanding among the people shall inform the multitude. And for a long season they shall be persecuted with sword, with fire, with captivity, and with the taking away of their goods. Now when they fall, they shall be set up with a little help, but many shall cleave unto them feignedly. Ye, some of those which have understanding, shall be persecuted also, that they may be tried, purified, and cleansed, till the time be out. For there is yet another time appointed. The king shall do what him list, he shall exalt and magnify himself against all, that is God. Yea, he shall speak marvelous things against the God of all gods, wherein he shall prosper, so long till the wrath be fulfilled, for the conclusion is devised already. He shall not regard the God of his fathers, but his lust shall be upon women. Yea, he shall not care for any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. In his place shall he worship the mighty idols, and the God whom his fathers knew not, shall he honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and pleasant jewels. This shall he do, seeking help and succor at the mighty idols and strange gods. Such as receive him and take him for God, he shall give them great worship with other, in form, and power, yea, and make them lords of the multitude, and give them the land with rewards. In the latter time shall the king of the south strive with him, and the king of the north in like manner shall come against him with chariots, horsemen, and with a great navy of ships. He shall come into the lands, destroy and go thorough. He shall enter also into the fair pleasant land. Many cities and countries shall decay, except Edom, Moab, and the best of the children of Ammon, which shall escape from his hand. He shall stretch forth his hands upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape him. For thorough his going in, he shall have dominion over the treasures of silver and gold, and over all the precious jewels of Egypt, Libya, and Ethiopia. Nevertheless, the tidings out of the east and the north shall trouble him, for the which cause he shall go forth to destroy and curse a great multitude. The tents of his palace shall he pitch betwixt the two seas upon the hill of the noble sanctuary, for he shall come to the end of it, and then shall no man help him. The time will come also that the great Prince Michael, which standeth on thy people's side, shall arise up, for there shall come a time of trouble such as never was, since there began to be any people unto that same time. Then shall thy people be delivered, yea, all those that be found written in the book. Many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to perpetual shame and reproof. The wise, such as have taught other, shall glister as the shining of heaven, and those that have instruct the multitude unto God, Linus, shall be as the stars, world without end. And thou, O Daniel, shut up these words, and seal the book till the last time. Many shall go about here and there, and then shall knowledge increase. So Daniel looked, and behold, there stood other two, one upon this shore of the water, the other upon yonder side. And one of them said unto him, which was clothed in linen, and stood above upon the waters of the flood, How long shall it be to the end of these wondrous works? Then heard the man with the linen clothes, which stood above upon the waters of the flood, when he held up his right and left hand unto heaven, and sware by him which liveth for ever, that it shall tarry for a time, 2 times and half a time. The other lining. When the power of the holy people is clean scattered abroad, then shall all these things be fulfilled. Heard it well, but understood it not. Then said, O my Lord, what shall happen after that? He answered, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words shall be closed up and sealed till the last time. And many shall be purified, cleansed, and tried. But the ungodly shall live wickedly, and those wicked, as many as they be, shall have no understanding. As for such as have understanding, they shall regard it. And from the time forth that the daily offering shall be put down, and the abominable desolation set up, there shall be 1,290 days. O well is him that waiteth, and cometh to the 1,335 days. Go thou thy way now till it be ended. Take thy rest, and bide in thy lot till the days have an end. End of Prop Doxai of Daniel.